Disruption in real estate. Well, the landmark legal settlement between the National Association of Realtors and several real estate brokerages across the nation is having ripple effects in the industry. Today, we're going to talk more about what that means for you. Welcome back to our channel. If we haven't met before, I'm Christen.ripoli, and I'm a local real estate agent in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is my husband, Jason, and together we post videos every single week about what it's like to live, work, and play in the greater Charlotte area. And we help people just like you buy, sell, relocate, and invest in real estate here in the greater Charlotte area. So whether you're moving in a month or a year, be sure to call, text, or email. I'd love to help you start your journey to Charlotte.
And before we get any further into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video, and share it with a friend if you think it will help them out if they're moving to the Charlotte area.
In today's video, we are going to be talking about the latest real estate news nationally. Following the new settlement from the National Association of Realtors, a lot of buyers and sellers are having questions about what that means for them. So in today's video, we're going to try to clear up some of that confusion so that you know what's happening this summer.
So the main thing we're going to cover in this video is the NAR settlement. And Kristen, we want to know if there's going to be like a disruption in the industry or what ripple effects it's going to have.
I think it's going to cause a lot less disruption than people expect it to. What it is going to cause, though, is total confusion. Real estate agents are confused, buyers and sellers are confused, and I even think the people who made these agreements are confused as well. Basically, what it all boils down to are two changes that are going to make a clear difference in the real estate industry. The first change is that if you are a buyer looking for a home in the market and you hire a buyer's agent, you need to have all of that agreement in writing. So you need to know in advance what services you are receiving and what fees you are being charged. Now in North and South Carolina, this was already somewhat the process. We did have to have that buyer's agency agreement in place prior to writing an offer on a property. However, it had become a little bit lax in that many agents were waiting until they were writing that offer to actually get the buyer agency agreement signed. Whereas now it's going to be extremely important to have this agreement signed up front before rendering any services, because you want it to be clear before you begin that relationship, not only what services you're offering, but how much you're charging for those services. So there's clarity, and I do think that's great for the buyers to have that clarity up front, but there's also a downside, because if the sellers aren't willing to cover that commission like they may have been in the past, now that money has to come out of the buyer's pocket. And most of the buyers I know aren't willing to pay out of pocket for a lot of extra services.
I also wonder, will agents also find other ways to increase fees or commissions to kind of offset that? Or what do you think about that?
I do think that's a possibility, but what I really think is going to happen is that sellers are going to realize they need to come to the plate. Remember that sellers need buyers. You cannot sell your house without getting the buyers in the door to begin with. So they know that they need to sweeten the pot, make it beneficial for buyers to see the property and to make an offer on the property. That way they can get the highest price possible. That's why I really don't think this ruling is a big deal, but it is causing confusion, which is fascinating.
So Kristen, you mentioned confusion, and I know a lot of people are actually kind of confused about this whole process. What do you think the ultimate impact of home prices is going to be after this settlement goes through?
I can definitely see why there's a lot of confusion around this topic, because there are actually people out there saying that if sellers are not paying for the buyer's agent, then maybe they can pass those savings along to the buyers, and the buyers might be able to save on the house and use that savings to pay their agent. Then there's another school of thought that the sellers are going to walk away with more money, so it's going to make more sense for them. And frankly, I think that you just have to boil this down to imagine what you would do in this situation. Imagine you are selling a house. In our example, let's say you're saving 3% on not paying the buyer's agent's fee. Now, are you going to list your house 3% less because you're saving that money?
No.
No, of course not, right? Sellers are greedy. It's a one-time chance to get the most money possible for your house, and you're not giving that away. So if you think prices are going to come down, that is definitely not the case. There's such a shortage of inventory right now that home prices continue to rise. We're looking at about 5% year over year in the Charlotte area. It's simply supply and demand. There's a lot of buyers and not enough homes on the market. And that is the rule of real estate.
So do you still see prices of homes actually still rising over the next year or so?
I think prices are absolutely going to go through the roof, especially if interest rates come down even a point by the end of the year. Everybody is going to be out looking for homes if interest rates come down and money is more affordable. And the competition will be so fierce that prices have nowhere to go but up. So when should people be buying? Right now. But that's always been my mantra, and not just because I'm a real estate agent, but it really is the best time to buy when everyone else isn't out there buying, because once everyone floods the marketplace and everyone's buying at the same time, you are definitely going to pay more. Why would you want to wait for that?
So Kristen, a real driver of the housing prices is the lack of inventory. There's actually been a lot of questions about how to unlock that inventory. Do you see the inventory picture getting better anytime soon?
Believe it or not, it has gotten a little bit better. Inventory has slightly increased in the Charlotte market, but no, there is such a shortage of houses that I don't see this changing anytime soon. You know, the biggest problem again is interest rates. Most people who own homes are sitting at 3%, 4%, sometimes even 2% interest rates. And frankly, not very many people are willing to give that up. That's why you have the bottleneck right now, and that's why people aren't willing to sell their homes.
A lot of people also ask if you can buy the house and then date the rate. Is that still accurate?
Well, it's possible, but it helps make people feel better more than it actually makes a big difference.
So Kristen, your advice for people who are sitting on the sidelines, who haven't quite listed their home yet, and they're a little nervous with the high interest rates, where do you think interest rates need to go in order for people to feel comfortable about listing their home?
When mortgage rates get to 6%, sellers are going to be making so much on their houses, they are not going to be thinking about it at all. They're just jumping in and selling those houses. If we continue to hover around this 7%, they're still going to be selling. They're still going to be making great money. But essentially, it is a hard argument to convince a homeowner to sell if they don't need to. Life changes make it necessary for people to sell, but when it's optional, no one is putting that house on the market.
I'm curious about your advice for first-time home buyers, obviously impacted by the settlement. I know a lot of people are saying that they're just going to give up and that they're just going to rent forever. Should people still have the goal of owning their own home?
Okay, well, first I'm going to mention that rents are cheaper anywhere in the United States than purchasing a home. So logic would dictate, why not keep renting because it's cheaper? Be that as it may, many people still believe that owning a home is the American dream. But for the first-time home buyer, they are the hardest hit. They have to compete the hardest. They don't have as much cash to compete, so they're not making cash offers, and they are unfortunately losing about 4 out of any 5 properties they make an offer on. I would not want to be a first-time home buyer today. I don't know what's going to give, but it's not going to be easy.
So we've all been in that same boat, but what advice would you give first-time home buyers?
I know that this video probably sounds extremely depressing today, but I do have advice for first-time home buyers. Find the community that you want to own a home in. Look at those homes that you really like and leave love notes on all of their doors. And that's worked for some people. You know, you find a house you like, you leave a love note, you can even mail it to them. Just say you love the house and be specific about what you love. You can look up old listing photos. Maybe they have some on Zillow or Realtor.com from the last time it sold, or something you can see from outside. Maybe the front porch is something you have wanted forever. You just love their front porch. Mention that specifically in the love letter. You never know when you might find someone who was already considering making a move, but they just weren't sure if they had a buyer in the market. It could be that they were ready to retire and wanting to move to the beach, but they just weren't sure if now was the right time. Your note could be exactly what they need to help them make that decision.
All right, and that's all we got in today's video. Don't forget, if you found value in this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. and share it with a friend who might be interested in buying a house in the Charlotte area or has some questions about the NAR settlement.
And don't forget, if you are considering a move in the Charlotte area, down in the description, there is a link to my calendar so that you can schedule a Zoom appointment that works in your schedule. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.